If you think Bob Marley was just about peace signs and good vibes, you missed the entire point. This is the story of Robert Nesta Marley. Bob Marley was born in 1945 in 9 Mile, Jamaica. Bob's father was a 60-year-old white plantation officer, and his mother, Sedila Booker, raised him alone. Their relationship was shaped by the unequal power and racial hierarchy of colonial Jamaica. There's no evidence of assaults, but the imbalance itself tells you a lot about the world Bob was born into. That feeling followed him into Kingston, where he grew up poor in Trenchtown, one of the hardest parts of the city. Trenchtown was rough, but it was creative. Sound systems, street singers, and backyard studios were everywhere. Bob trained as a welder, but music kept pulling him in. In 1963, he formed the Wailers with Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. At first, they made ska and early reggae, music to move to, not yet music to challenge minds. Then Bob encountered Rastafari. Rastafari is a spiritual and political movement that began in Jamaica in the 1930s. It teaches that African people are a displaced nation, that Africa, especially Ethiopia, is central to black identity, and that Emperor Haile Selassie represents black dignity and sovereignty. It also rejects colonial values and promotes natural living, resistance, and spiritual freedom. For Bob, Rastafari wasn't style, it was direction. Music stopped being just entertainment, it became a message. By the mid-1970s, Jamaica was tearing itself apart with political violence. In 1976, gunmen broke into Bob's home and shot him, his wife Rita, and his manager, days before a peace concert. Bob survived, and instead of staying, he left for London. London changed everything. There, he recorded Exodus, the album that took reggae to the world. Albums like Catch a Fire, Burning, Rastaman Vibration, Exodus, and Uprising carried messages about Africa, poverty, oppression, and the resistance across the globe. Bob became the first true global superstar from the Caribbean and the developing world. But his goal was never just charts. Through Rastafari, Bob believed Africa was home. And in 1980, he performed in Zimbabwe at the country's independence celebrations. The end of colonial rule and the birth of a new nation. Tear gas was fired into the crowd. Bob kept performing anyway. In 1977, doctors had already found a malignant melanoma under his toenail, cancer that began after a football injury. Because of his beliefs, Bob refused amputation. The cancer spread while he kept touring, recording, and performing. In 1978, he returned to Jamaica and brought rival political leaders on stage, joining their hands to show unity was still possible. By 1981, the cancer had spread to his brain and his lungs. Bob Marley died at a young age of just 36, but his voice didn't. Today, Bob Marley is one of the best-selling artists of all time. His album Exodus was regarded by Time as the best album of the 20th century. A symbol of resistance, African consciousness, and spiritual rebellion. He didn't just sing about freedom, he paid for it. And that brings us to the real question. If one man with a guitar could shake the world's conscience, what would happen if more people stopped chasing fame and started carrying truth? And as always, would love to know your thoughts in the comments below.